Hello and welcome to Easy Like a Sunday Morn. I'm your host, Shane Lockwood, and today is February 22nd, 2015. This is Easy Like a Sunday Morn, episode 43, and this is the podcast that does not believe in super fast talking, trying to sell you something. It's just about relaxing on a Sunday morn. Now, you might not be listening to this on a Sunday morning. You may be listening to this on a Saturday night, or a Monday morning, or Friday night, or Thursday night, or whenever. That doesn't matter. It's the feeling of Sunday morning. The diet starts Monday. The lawn needs to be mowed Sunday afternoon. But for now, it's Sunday morn, and you don't have to do anything. You just have to sit back and relax before you start your day. For the next half an hour, just ease back, relax, warm yourself up, have a bit of a coffee, and then get into your day. Now, before I start this show, I want to thank two new followers. One is John, who is a friend of mine from Facebook, and also a special guest is Miss Ashley from the No Religion Required podcast, and they're just starting out, but they are quite rapidly becoming very popular within the atheist podcast circuit, so do check out that podcast. It's called No Religion Required, if you want to find out more about that. Today's show is partially about Soundwave. I'm not going to go into too much detail. Soundwave is a music festival here in Adelaide and in Melbourne. It's held over 2 days, which is strange. This is something that they've done just for this year, to split it into over 2 days. Last year it was just the 1 day. But I think there are so many acts, I think that they are splitting it so that they can fit all these different acts in and things like that. And maybe recruit more money, I don't know. But guests like Marilyn Manson, Slipknot, Soundgarden, Faith No More, Smashing Pumpkins, and etc., are all there this year. It started Saturday, it's going on today, so if you get to the Adelaide Oval or to wherever it is in Melbourne, pretty much after listening to this, go and enjoy yourself. It is very, very hot here. Very, very hot. It's well over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, so please drink plenty of water if you're out and about. I know one person's already broken their arm. Obviously, you've got to be doing some silly stuff for that to happen. But yeah, the Soundwave Music Festival, I think there's over like 75 musical acts. It's over 2 days, and it's one of those things where it really tests the infrastructure of the city of Adelaide, because the traffic just jams, the trams get clogged of people lining up. There's spilling over onto the road from the tram stops and stuff like that. So I think that's why they've split it into 2 days. I don't know. I think that might be easier on the police. It's easier on pretty much everybody. The city's infrastructure does need to change somewhat, but that's what happens, I think. What else is going on? There's no Meme Busters segment this week. There are a few memes that I did want to bust, but I haven't written them down. But in news, you've got... Now, this may be a rumour. It hasn't been official. It hasn't been denied yet either. But apparently Prince Harry is dating Emma Watson. What do you think about that? Do you care? I couldn't care less, really. I think when you are that rich and your circle of friends is only celebrities, then that's the people that you're going to be meeting and dating and things like that. So that happens. Could it be true? It doesn't sound far-fetched to me. They are fairly close in age, and Emma Watson is a very, very good-looking young woman. So who knows? Who knows? And there haven't been any paparazzi photos of them together, like on a beach or whatever. So we'll wait and see for that one. The other big thing was that Glenn McGrath, who was an Australian cricketer, was photographed way back in 2008, after his wife had passed away of breast cancer. And he set up the Glenn McGrath Foundation to raise money and awareness of breast cancer. That's why you'll see a lot of people wearing pink on sporting events and things like that, like one day a year. And apparently there are photos, I've seen the photos, a photo of him back in 2008 on safari in Africa somewhere. And he's basically lying on a dead elephant with like a massive gun in his hand and things like that. And I think when you're a celebrity or a sports player, and you have to do a lot of team building activities, and you do have to be seen to be a part of a team. You do these things, and unfortunately that's the sort of stuff that it does not bode well. Don't go around killing elephants. It's just bad form all round. It does not paint him in a really good light. I think it's tarnished his image somewhat. There's no spin that you can put on this that paints it in a really good light. The other thing I wanted to talk about was Supernova. Supernova is a geekish comic book convention type thing, pop culture, and there was a bit of a debacle in that they had invited 3 guests from the TV show Firefly. That was Nathan Fillion, Morena Baccarin, and Adam Baldwin to come and sign autographs and do all that sort of stuff. Now, there was nothing wrong with those guests per se, except for the guy named Adam Baldwin, who plays Jane in Firefly. And he's one of the Baldwin brothers, one of many. And what had happened was he had coined the phrase Gamergate. And if you know anything about Gamergate, you know that it's a lot about misogyny, how women are treated in the gaming industry, how women are treated in like video games and such, ladies who create video games, and some of the misogyny and backlash that they get. And there were death threats and all sorts of stuff. And Adam Baldwin seemingly instigated a lot of this stuff. Now, I don't want to say too much. I don't want to point the finger at him. He did coin the term Gamergate. He did start the hashtag. However, I don't think that he was responsible for a lot of the hatred directed at certain individuals. But there was certainly a lot of hacking of documents and leaking of documents for anybody who stood up against Gamergate or whatever. So it becomes a real issue if you are a business like Supernova, whose basically profit margin comes from inviting celebrity guests over to Australia, and you've spent all this money, you've signed a contract, this guy is contracted to appear and whatnot. Now he could have said, "Oh look, I've got an illness. We're going to cancel the show. We're going to not cancel the show, but cancel his appearance because it was getting too politically hot." Because there'd been a petition to get Soundwave not to get him to come. Now the Supernova won't be until I think halfway through the year. But what would you do? What would you do if you invited a guest and that guest had a controversial history? But you've spent the money and you were trying to recoup the money back. I don't know what I would do. it's one of those grey areas. Now, in looking at Adam Baldwin's Twitter feed, it's basically a cesspool of homophobia, transphobia, and just misogynistic, women-hating, just gun-loving, right-wing stuff. It's just really, really backwards, and it's really... Basically, you'd only read it if you wanted to feel better about yourself as a human being. It's that bad. But I'm not going to point the finger and say he's guilty. I disagree with his politics. I disagree with a lot of his points of view. And that's unfortunate because I liked Firefly. But now I can't watch it. Now, knowing that the characters he plays are very... Now, he played very right-wing gun nut sort of characters anyway. And the idea was that we would laugh at these characters because they're so cartoonish. But then you realise, no, he's not acting. He really thinks this way, which is why he picked those roles and those characters. Sad, really. Okay, what's coming up? The 87th Academy Awards are coming up this Sunday, today, or tomorrow if you're listening in the United States. And I hope that a movie called Birdman, or The Unintended Consequences of Ignorance, I think that's the subtitle, starring Michael Keaton, I think that should win quite a few awards. Now, I know there's a few people who are, let's see, against that idea. They think that maybe he shouldn't. But I think he did a brilliant performance. The story is about an actor who played a character called Birdman. Very much like Michael Keaton did in real life. He played a character called Batman. And he was on the top of his world. He was publicity. He was at the height of publicity, fame, fortune, etc. And then, after he said no to doing the third Batman film, all of a sudden he went into obscurity. Now, he did plays and things like that. But then this character is a very similar character in that he mirrors Michael Keaton's life to a certain point. And the plot twist on weaved through this film is that he has Birdman in his head, the character of Birdman in his head, saying, look, you used to be... it's like the shadow of his fame, teasing him, saying, you used to be big, you used to be this, you used to be that. And then it's left with a rather ambiguous ending. Well, to me it's not ambiguous. To me it's quite clear that he becomes the character once again. He just embraces this character and becomes Birdman. So a lot of people say, oh, did he not? See the film and decide for yourself. Maybe leave a comment down below as to what you think. What else is going on? I've most of my notes. Yes, it's very, very hot here. And I had a comment by Adam, because I asked him and you guys in the Facebook group what I should talk about. And he was saying that there's a good chance that we are going to have a longer, hotter summer, maybe pushing out to April, May, and whether or not the classifications for the seasons will shift, So traditionally in Australia, summer starts in December and goes all the way through to February. However, that doesn't stop you getting hot days or rain or whatever throughout the season. Now, in December, January, we had a lot of rain. And it cooled things down quite a lot. We did have a few days over 40 degrees Celsius. And I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, probably like 110, maybe 105. But it's hot. It's real hot. And but it's been quite muggy. And yeah, so this weekend it's up around, say, 38 degrees Celsius. So it's well over 100. I don't have the conversions in front of me. I should have done some homework, I think. But that's what happened. But do you think that the seasons will change? That the months on the calendar for the seasons will change? Will they extend it out? I don't know. I mean, I think it may take a few years where they can look at the weather and go, okay, we might need to readdress the summer months. Because you know that the weather doesn't adhere to the calendar. The calendar has to adhere to the weather, to the way we see things. So is it time for a shake-up in the weather, in the calendar system? Maybe. Who knows? I've been watching a show called Better Call Saul. And it's this Monday will be, I think, the 4th episode. And if you've never heard of it before, it's a prequel to a show called Breaking Bad. And Breaking Bad was about a chemistry teacher who was diagnosed with terminal lung cancer. And in the United States, the welfare system is different, very, very different. And so he had to come up with a whole heap of money to basically support his treatment. What he discovers, though, is that one of his former students is selling methamphetamines, and he decides to go into business with his former student. Basically, he creating the methamphetamines in a pure form because he's a chemistry teacher, and his student finding a way to sell it. And slowly but surely they make enemies, friends, and they make a whole heap of mistakes, and it's just very, very entertaining viewing. It can get gory, it can get violent, but it's compelling television, and it's just very, very addictive. I basically marathoned Breaking Bad in possibly about 5 or 6 days in a week. And you could imagine there's like 23 episodes or so in a season. So yeah, I was burning through them pretty quick. That's how addictive it was. But in Breaking Bad, there was a character called Saul Goodman. And he was there for the basically comic relief. And he is a fast-talking lawyer. He can get you off charges, all sorts of charges and things. He's just a very, very fast talker, negotiator. He was just brilliant, alright? He's played by an actor by the name of Bob Odenkirk, and he's brilliant. And if he doesn't win an award this year for Better Call Saul, I'm going to be very, very upset. The 3rd episode, the one that was on last week, is the one where he pulled out a brilliant performance. It was just incredible. He's a character actor. He's just brilliant because he's adding layers of depth to the character. Now, in Better Call Saul, the show starts off not in a prequel format. It shows what happens to the character after Breaking Bad, and he says something in Breaking Bad. He says that the best case scenario is that he'll be the manager of a Cinnabon restaurant chain in Montana somewhere, and that's what the show starts off. And it shows him being paranoid and like as if someone's going to kill him, etc., etc. Now, we go back before he was called Saul Goodman, and his name is Vince Gill. And you think, well, why would this guy need to change his name? What's going on? What's the backstory behind why he needs to change his name? And it goes into those details. So it's a brilliant show. and it doesn't have the ultra violence just yet, but it does have the characters, and you're watching it for the characters. There's a few cameos, and his relationship to basically one of his offsiders in Breaking Bad, I think. No, he wasn't. I see. No, I remember. They weren't friends so much in Breaking Bad. I'm thinking of a character named Mike, and he was basically a fixer, like a hitman, fixer kind of guy in Breaking Bad, and he worked for, I can't remember, Gustav. He worked for Gustav in Breaking Bad, but in Better Call Saul, because it's a prequel, you find out that he used to be a cop, and that he used to work as a car park attendant, right? So that's how he gets to meet Vince Gill, who then goes on to become Saul Goodman. Incredible stuff. Incredible stuff. The other show that I've been watching lately is Star Wars Rebels. This is a show that is a CGI animated show, cartoon-ish show that I think it's safe for kids, possibly not younger kids, but older kids. I'd say like over fives, because there's a few people that do get killed off screen, and just to highlight how evil some of these characters really are. But yeah, so Star Wars Rebels is worth checking out. I've gone back and started watching the Clone Wars because I'd missed out, and that was a show that was 6 seasons long. And what happened with that? That's set between episode 2 and 3, and I know there's a few people there listening to this that refuse to watch the Star Wars prequels, and I don't blame you. I've just seen an episode called Bomba Jedi, and it actually had Jar Jar Binks in it, pretending to be a Jedi, and I just thought, oh goodness gracious, that's just horrible. But yeah, going back to Soundwave, because I've just gone back through my other list of notes. I've got several notes here, and speaking of Soundwave, which is started yesterday, it's going on today. I worked at Soundwave last year for a cleaning company that no longer exists. I found out that the cleaning company that I used to work for no longer exists in Adelaide. So I can pretty much say what I want. However, that said, the friend who used to work for them, I asked her why she wasn't doing the Calypso 500 this year. Now, I'd had enough of all the abuse and being screamed and yelled at, even though I was doing the right thing. And I don't think anybody should be treated that way, really. If you want to be successful in life, you have to, and this is a secret, just between you and me, the people that got basically 23 minutes and 34 seconds in, the secret is you have a BS threshold. And that threshold is a level of BS that you'll put up with, right? And the shorter your BS threshold is, the further you will go in life. And that's true. That's true. If you don't accept your circumstances, you will change them. And the faster you change them, the better. I know this woman who used to work, basically went to the Calypso 500, and she was there for all of 2 hours. She walked in, this guy was screaming and yelling and carrying on, and she was back in the tent 2 hours later, because I'd gone back for a break, just to grab like a cup of water or something, and she was like, had her arms folded, and the boss was trying to calm her down, and she said, no, I'm not putting up with this. This is, you either fire him or I go. So they're not going to fire this guy that they've shipped over from Melbourne or Sydney. And when they come over from Melbourne or Sydney, they have a way of putting down people of Adelaide, and I really don't like that at all. I don't know about you, But if I flew to Japan, I wouldn't be talking down to Japanese people. I mean, they're shorter than me, but that's beside the point. You don't speak down, you don't visit a country or a town or a state and then start bad-mouthing the state or country or whatever. That's just bad form. You know, it's a really weird mindset, you know? But anyway, that's why Adelaide people tend to like locals a little bit better, only because we understand and we don't go around attacking people. Now, look, I might frown about people from Melbourne or other states, but I don't have any animosity towards them. There is a different mindset in the different states, but you know, that happens. But anyway, going back to what I was saying before, no BS zone, 3, 2, 1, and we're back. Mini edit. There is a chance that I might be working again as a cleaner, doing what I did last year at Soundwave. I worked at Soundwave for this cleaning company, and it was crowded, it was hot, and I basically sat in front of Green Day for the entire concert pretty much. It was amazing to get paid to basically sit in front of, not sit, but to stand and clean empty bins and things in front of Green Day. Well, it was that, or I had like another heavy metal band that, like a real deathcore metal band, and to me it was just noise, and I apologise to the younger listeners, but that's what it's like for me. But yeah, there's a possible job going. They're not really advertising as much, but this new, because the company that I used to work for no longer exists, they've lost all their contracts, you see. So this other company went, I will buy up all these contracts. And my friend let me know that she works there, and that a few of the people that I didn't really like are also working there, but that happens. But it also means that their hiring is not as strict as I was led to believe, because there's a few people that, let's just say, they don't bathe very regularly, unfortunately. But that happens too. So this is currently 28 minutes in. Well, I'm 8 seconds shy, but 28 minutes, that gives me 2 minutes to talk about the code word, for those who are listening long enough, and also the fact that I have a Patreon page if you want to support this show. Now, if you don't want to support the show financially, the best thing you can do is click like. It's free, all right? All you've got to do is click like, or give it a thumbs up, or add it to, press to whatever your favourites list is, if you're listening to this through a podcast catcher, etc., etc. And I will endeavour the best that I can to try and get a show out every week. It's not always easy to find topics to talk about for half an hour. The rest of the afternoon I will be editing this, so you should hear, if I'm doing this correctly, you should hear theme music fairly shortly. At the beginning of this episode you should have heard theme music, and you should be hearing it fairly shortly. The code word for today is technical, as in technical issues. That's TECHINICAL, technical. Just leave that in the comments down below. That way I know that you've listened this far. And I might have another sneaky no BS zone style hint next week. I don't know yet. I might sneak a lot of stuff into the middle of the show. So a lot of people don't tune in for very long. So you guys are quite privileged. Anyway, I hope that today, the rest of today, and the rest of the week is easy like a Sunday morn. Bye for now. Thanks for listening.